ladies and gentlemen, to the English broadcast of the Chinese LPL. I'm, of course, Max Atlas Anderson, joined by Jake Spawn Tiberi, and we're here for our next matchup between Energy Pacemaker and LGD Gaming, and I'm excited for this one. A little bit of a middle-rung match, but there are some exciting things coming here, especially from Korea, which is tending to be a trend tonight.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a team that picked up a couple of really big Korean imports, one of them which will have to sit on the bench, however, because we have Acorn and Flame on the side of LDG.
Yeah, two top laners.
In the top lane.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see who they run first. Of course, Flame is technically the sub at the moment, but they are potentially going to be swapping these guys around based on what they want to do, as far as whether they want to carry top laner or whether they want this sort of tank player. Of course, Acorn, known for his Maokai, was fantastic on that one over in Worlds. So we'll see whether they do decide to go with that one or whether they sort of opt to go for the more carry style, which is the Chinese way, as we saw Flandre demonstrating.
Yeah, but I think if you look at the team from LGD, it's much more important for them to have a solid top laner. They've, of course, got Imp in that AD carry role. They have Quan in the jungle, who plays a fairly decently, Sid, you would have to say, probably one of his best champions. And then, of course, Wayless in the mid lane. So what that means is if they don't have a solid rock of a team, they're going to have too many people trying to carry, too many split pushes going on, and it's just not going to work out for them. So I would expect Acon to start majority of the games.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that they may be playing under different names. Of course, Wayless and Quan are still Xuan, I'm not entirely good at pronunciation, but they are playing under potentially different names, that being TBQ and Lucifer. So we'll just see whether they are going to have that one. Of course, China does have a few name change things going on. Of course, Loveland being one of those examples. That guy's been a few different names over his time.
Yeah, it definitely has. If we look over the other side, EP, Energy Pacemaker, they're one of those teams that was on the rise. They came through the expansion. They've upgraded a couple of their players, like Shu in the bottom lane, the support player for that expansion tournament. And they were like on their way up. They had the top lane synergy and jungle synergy between Captain and Amazing J.
Yeah.
But then kind of the Koreans just came in. And what that does is when you add so many top talented players into a very good region already, it means that the middle of the tier teams, they don't necessarily get worse, but there is just a gap that is growing in between these teams.
Yeah, they sort of missed out on that extra level up experience by getting all of these Korean players onto the team. But we'll see whether they can manage to step up. Of course, having a lineup that can all communicate effectively together is still going to be a fantastic boon for this team. And we'll see whether they can utilize that, make sure that they can make more coordinated plays potentially around that map. And Energy Pacemaker actually made some upsets in the expansion tournament, knocking out a sort of young gun team, Young Glory, who were looking fantastic getting through to that one. But Energy Pacemaker managed to knock them out. So still looking okay, but just doesn't really have the star power that we're seeing on the side of LGD.
Yeah, and that's what I was really hitting on. Like, Amazing J, here's this top laner that he wasn't great, and then he started steadily improving, and people were like, he could potentially have a bright future. But then you add people like Acorn, and you're like, wow, there's some superstars in the top lane now in China. Yeah. So yeah, they're definitely on a team. They're continuing to get better. They definitely haven't reached their potential and their peak yet. But it's just the fact that the ceiling got lifted a little bit higher.
Yeah, and that does get a little bit dangerous. And we need to talk about as well this bottom lane matchup, because Imp coming in is so exciting to me. Reminds me very, very much of the likes of Uzi. They just play so aggressively in this bottom lane. And Imp, even when he was over in Korea, a place where, you know, all of the rotations matter. They need to be getting these objectives all the time. Imp didn't care. Imp was just killing people all the time.
Yeah, Imp is that very, very aggressive, cocky, I guess, AD carry that wants to get in there and he wants to prove that he beats other lanes.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do it through CS or anything like that. He just gets in their face, tries to kill them, plays a very, very good Twitch as well, which we have to watch for potentially coming out because it just gives him so much damage across the whole team fight. But when we talk about this bottom lane on the side of LDG, it's funny because the player that actually excites me is the support. So PYL, he's the reason that Imp wanted to go to the team, it's been said. It's a reason that their mid laner also wanted to go to the team, playing under the name of Lucifer. Just the shot caller, the captain, the very, very calm, in-control player. They call him Mata-esque for the people that are watching, for the fact that the Koreans are in the game. he doesn't have as good ward control, but his roams and his team fight coordination are really what set this team up.
Yeah, and it's his cerebral play as well. This guy is so smart when it comes to calling the shots for his team. Watch PYL to see whether he's going to be roaming mid, creating these picks, and really moving around this map in order to get the vision that they absolutely need for plays that are going to be coming up. So this guy's going to be setting things up for his team. And LGD, I think, rely on PYL a lot during their games.
Yeah, and we've mentioned about his roaming and then his shot calling, and that's, I think, what is going to be a big tell. If they get that under control, if he can let Imp know, I'm not going to be in the lane. You can't go aggressive, otherwise it will be a 2v1 and you will die.
Yeah.
That is where the communication is so necessary for this bot lane. So we'll see if they've really nailed that. Let Imp play off a leash a little bit and get very, very aggressive, but then also understand when he's not going to have a support in that lane.
Yeah, and Kane's been playing for a long time as well. I mean, we do have to mention Energy Pacemaker's bottom lane here as well. I mean, Shu, who is down there as a support player, we don't know too much about him, but Kane has been around the scene for a long time. I mean, the last time I saw him play was a very long time ago when he was playing Draven. So we'll see whether he's still going to be incredibly aggressive with those sort of picks or whether he's going to be sort of just playing the general Chinese meta and fitting in that way.
Yeah, and once again, we have a bottom lane coming out of EP that is not a bad bottom lane by any stretch. I do not think you can call a bottom lane in China outright bad. However, they're playing against some of the best bottom lanes in the world.
This is a world-class bottom lane. I mean, Imp is the world champion AD carry.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. So you put what is probably internationally a B to an A tier bottom lane against like an S class, like top of the line PYL Imp.
Yeah.
They're going to be in for the ride of their life, I think, in this lane.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely terrifying. And what do you think that EP's sort of playstyle is going to be going into this one? Are they going to focus ganks in that bottom lane, or are they just going to try and snowball their solo laners?
So what they count on is Amazing J's teleport timing, well with Captain's, I guess, ganks around the map. So what they want to do is they want to set up a time where they can get 4 people into a lane, particularly bottom, really, really quickly, like jungle mid, jungle top showing up exactly the same time and turn something and take an objective off it. So they're those teams that they do their very, very quick drive-by ganks and then try and pick up a kill or pick up a dragon.
Yeah, so just make sure that they get in, get out, get the objectives that they need and just get global advantages and then snowball it that way.
Yeah, exactly right. And once again, they don't look to 1v1 or necessarily skirmish on even terms. They're all about making uneven numbers around the map and trying to get advantages that way because let's face it, individually, if you match these guys up across the board, they're probably the weaker lineup. So they have to win it with their team play, and that is such a big part of League of Legends.
Yeah, and I think that that's really important, having them all speak the same language as well. So the full Chinese roster going up against sort of a little bit of a mismatch here. So having a couple of players speaking Korean, having to respond to pings other than actual language might give them a little bit of an edge here. But as we know, PYL, the Chinese player, is going to be able to communicate with the majority of his team, I guess, or sort of like the 50-50 of the 4 remaining players, and can definitely get Imp to follow him when he's going places. So having PYL there to make all of the calls, and as long as everyone follows, I mean, it's going to be hard for Energy Pacemaker, I think.
Yeah, well, the thing that is so fun about watching Chinese is that they go forward very, very well together. So I don't think it's going to be when they're attacking that the communication problems are going to be the issue. Because
I think the communication is kill that guy.
Yes, because Imp knows how to kill people and Acorn knows how to peel and get in there and mix it up. So I think the problem is if they ever fall behind, how do they coordinate a retreat very, very tactically? When do they communicate that they're going to turn and try and win the team fight from there? So in this game, we might not see it as much. We might actually see some pretty flawless communication and them just going absolutely ham. Or I think it will be the games where they get behind that we might see that.
Yeah, and so we'll have to see whether Energy Pacemaker can put LGD on the back foot. And I think that is going to be definitely a hard task for these guys because looking at this lineup, they look incredibly strong. But we haven't seen how these Koreans are going to synergize in with the team. So I guess that is going to be the one test for LGD, but otherwise it's looking like things are pretty stacked in their favor.
Yeah, and if you hit synergy, I guess the problem that why we keep bringing it up for LGD specifically is because it's their top laner and their AD. So they have absolutely nothing to do with each other for the first good 15 minutes of the map, unless it's a coordinated teleport gank into the bottom lane.
Yeah.
So if it's jungle mid, they just communicate to themselves, to each other in Korean. They have very, very good synergy still. But Acorn needs to communicate with a jungler. The PYL needs to communicate to Imp. So this is why the communication, in particular for how LDG has set up their Korean and Chinese players, is going to be very, very important for how the start of their season kicks off.
And do you think that maybe with the fact that, you know, if they decide to go with Acorn in that top lane, having him on the likes of a Maokai is something that's really, really good at peeling? Could the communication be utilized in that late game in order to have Imp just say, look, Acorn, I'm here, I'm going in, blah, 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 blah. Can you peel for me and make sure that I don't die in this fight?
Yeah, well, Acorn does like to be an initiator. He does peel relatively well, but he does, as I said, like to get in there and mix it up in his own right. So I do think that his communication with Imp will be absolutely fine. If Imp needs someone to peel for him, he'll definitely do it. Imp's positioning is quite good, if aggressive at times. He's definitely not Name and Deft style positioning, like very, very tactical and waiting, getting every single possible auto attack off. He's more like run his face into people and hope they die first kind of positioning. But so I think that won't be the problem. I think the problem will be when they play with Flame. I think that if they play with Flame, I just see too many carries, too many people that want to win the game individually for it to really synergize well.
Yeah, a little too much of the hero factor coming through. But I'm excited to see Flame play because it's been a while since I've personally witnessed
Everyone
him.
gets excited when Flame plays the game. He is like the core carry of top lane. Is like there is no way you
excited seeing his camera picture down the bottom.
Not to mention that, but just he is a very, very exciting top laner to watch in general.
Yeah, he's sort of like that top laner that plays like a mid laner.
Yeah, he is so mechanically gifted that is what he tries to do. He tries to get himself a lot of farm, tries to individually take over the map, kind of what we spoke that Flandre did last game.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that if you have 3 people that want to absorb CS, never want to group, want to do their own thing, the game does become extremely difficult.
Yeah, certainly when you're up against the likes of Energy Pacemaker that are going to want to make these team plays around this map as well. So I think we could probably expect Acorn to be on the roster, but we have no idea. I mean, I was expecting Zatai and Save in our first matchup with IG versus WE, but I got tricked out of that one, so it was going to be Rookie.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up as well, because I thought the exact same thing, and then Rookie came out and absolutely dominated.
Definitely
so they definitely had better information than we did, as we are into Champion Select.
Yeah, into Champion Select LGD on our blue side for our first matchup, and EP taking the red side. Cassidon banned away first, and Thresh being taken away from PYL, and Acorn is going to be starting. Yeah,
so it'll definitely be Acorn in the top lane, as we can see there. Will be going by the name Wayless as well, so Lucifer has been tossed out.
Yeah, but TBQ is going to be the junglist, but still the same player, guys. Don't worry too much about that one. Lysandra going to be banned away as well as Nah. So 2 top lane just nuisances getting taken off the board. Lysandra her engages are so strong with that presence.
Yeah, I think the reason we're seeing so many bans towards the top lane and sometimes even jungle, I expect Rek'Sai to be taken away here, is because the good top laners and the good junglers are miles ahead of the competition.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they just add everything you want from a top laner. Good CC, good damage, fantastic follow-up. Azir being taken away, he's interesting because we saw him last game, had a very, very good game.
Oh my goodness, and Rumble's being banned away. Acorn does have the option of first picking the Rek'Sai here, but it's going to be LeBlanc. Also been seeing a heck of a lot of bans today, but there's like Janna Rek'Sai that you can pick up right now.
Or Sivir Rek'Sai.
Yes, super power picks to come in potentially for Energy Pacemaker.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting first pick. Obviously, they count Wayless as wanting to play that champion so much that they prioritize everything else away.
You'd say that he's way more important.
Yeah, potentially.
Jarvan is going to be what's looked at here, though, and so not even opting for the Rek'Sai when it's available. Captain 57 is going to be on that Jarvan, so arguably still top-tier jungler, but it's not the Rek'Sai, not the terror that we've been witnessing.
Could potentially also be a top lane Jarvan as well, so they do keep themselves open there with 2 knockups. Looks like that will give over the Sivir, and we're seeing much more Nami being played today than I was expecting.
And I thought that it was sort of Kitty, the Nami player of China, but PYL looking to potentially give that one a shot as well. Hasn't been locked in yet, so these are still hovers. Sivir and Nami not necessarily going to definitely be the pickups here, but it looks to me like they might be ignoring Rek'Sai due to the fact that, I mean, they're assuming Jarvan's going to be in the jungle, so they don't need to pick it up.
Yeah, potentially, or maybe they just value Lee Sin above them.
Yeah,
Lee Sin can duel Rek'Sai very, very well early game, especially if he lands that Q. So maybe just thinking that, yeah, let them play Rek'Sai, we can just grab Lee Sin, that's what we want. And wow, Lee Sin actually might be picked away here, so that will be a top lane Jarvan.
Yeah, so they are taking away every other top-tier jungler apart from Rek'Sai at the moment. So either they know that TBQ doesn't play it, but he's looking at Rengar, and we saw Spirit do fantastic things, especially early on that Rengar. We'll see whether TBQ can make it work too.
Yeah, well, the feedback I've got on TBQ's Rengar so far is that it's definitely not up to the same level as Spirit. So,
not many Rengars are up to the same level as Spirit, if we're going to be perfectly honest here.
yeah, no, maybe not. But as it comes through as the last pick, potentially be interested to see what they take Akon in top lane. Aurelia being picked up there, so Season 1 matchup.
Yeah.
Jarvan versus Aurelia in the top lane. If only
Getting
Heart of Gold was still
flashbacks
in the
to
game.
Heart of Gold, yeah. Philosopher's Stone's
And
going on. Syndra
wow,
insta-locked.
Syndra. These are two very, very aggressive teams.
Yes, they certainly are. This middle lane is going to be so volatile on both sides. Of course, LeBlanc and Syndra with so much insta-kill potential. It's going to be really, really scary. Luo, though, on this Syndra, a lot less mobile than that LeBlanc is, so we could look to see TBQ potentially moving towards that mid lane a little bit earlier on. Of course, you're a little bit closer to the brushes there as well, so you might be able to utilize that passive a little bit better on the side of Rengar, but I don't know. It's looking very, very scary, and I think that Energy Pacemaker have had a very intelligent draft this time.
Yeah, the problem is that if you try and gank a Syndra, she can just turn around and blow your jungler up. So
Yeah,
that
that's
is
a
something
problem.
that you always have to be careful. If Syndra can get ahead at all, or even stay equal and the jungler not launch themselves ahead and get tanky, if you go in there, she is a very, very good chance of like 70-0ing you instantly.
70-0. 70 times your health she will take down instantly.
No, I mean, like, if you've taken any incidental damage from
Yeah,
the
no,
jungle
I
or
know,
something
it's
like
just
that, then
been
it goes through
a
and,
joke.
yeah, definitely can pop you. In saying that, LeBlanc kind of carries the same wild card. She can jump in there, definitely assassinate people,
Yeah.
take them off the board. If she double distorts, she does a lot of AoE damage as well, so maybe even a better team fight champion, but doesn't have the long-range pick potential that Syndra brings to a lineup.
Yeah, there's also the fact that you get a lot of utility on the side of Syndra as well, with the fact that you can launch out your ultimate, your unleashed power, and then use your scatter the weak, and you can get so many of these dark spheres scattered all around that team fight that you can stun multiple people easily.
Yeah, and we've seen it a little bit more lately where you drop a couple of orbs as we do jump onto the rift before the dragon fight begins, and then ult and stun to start the fight as opposed to trying to take someone out.
Yeah, we've seen that more recently on the side of a support Syndra, but in the mid lane it is slightly different. But we are, of course, onto the rift, ladies and gentlemen. LGD on our blue side and Energy Pacemaker on our red side to start this one off. We'll see whether any funny business does happen early on. Of course, no really interesting item picks just yet.
Yeah, and once again, just fanning out, neither team wanting to kind of invade, I guess, and take any early advantage. So just respecting each other. Knockups from supports do that level 1, and it looks like they will just be dancing around each other.
Yeah,
in the
just
top
sort of
lane.
just fanning out. Even Amazing Jay and Akon just basically cuddling one another here in this top lane as we have a mild pause just earlier on. But there wasn't very much action happening just yet anyway. So let's talk about the lanes that are going to be coming through here. Aurelia Jarvan spawn. When was the last time we saw this matchup in the top lane?
I've actually been seeing it a little bit more recently. I think Jarvan is a fantastic top lane pickup. He has the thing about Jarvan is you can build nearly every single tank or AD item on him, and he makes it useful. Just because he gives himself attack speed from his E and armor shred from his Q, it just means that Brutalize a fantastic pickup. If you're ahead, Hydra a fantastic pickup. But then because of the innate CC in his kit and the way his passive works, if you build him pure tank, he also still does a fair amount of damage. So I think the Jarvan, fantastic, I guess, versatile flex top laner, does a lot well, does contribute to TP ganks also very well. Aurelia, on the other hand, has that standard grab a couple of Dorans if you want to be aggressive. If not, grab the Phage, get into a Trinity, force some boots to as soon as possible. I actually think that Jarvan wins the matchup very, very handily early on. However, as it progresses, Aurelia starts to get away with some more persistent damage. Jarvan's advantage is his early game damage through that Q1 auto attack that we just saw.
Yeah, we can see that. There we go. Jarvan's passive actually works fantastically with these slight trades as well. As there's the Equilibrium Strike. TBQ's coming up to try and get something down. Bowler's going to be flashed out of the way of after it hits, unfortunately. So that's a flash down. I think that Amazing Jay's still going to be okay, but definitely LGD are going to be able to pick that one up. And LGD TBQ is a lot of letters in one name, just so you know, guys.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it looks like that flash will be very important because that means that if Rengar starts anywhere near the bottom side of the jungle, which it looks like he is, he will be able to get up there nice and early for a gank.
Yeah, we'll see whether they can capitalize on that one. Of course, Aurelia is fantastic at setting up these ganks, especially if you're a little bit lower than your opposing laner. That Equilibrium Strike, of course, stunning if you are at lower health.
So Captain 57 as well as LDQ are starting on their Krugs.
For that Krugs, exactly. Yep.
For that passive stun that comes through. It does keep you a little bit more healthy. Of course, Gromp gives you a faster clear time, however.
Yeah, of course, adding a little bit more damage as we are going to have the bottom lane of Energy Pacemaker taking out that Gromp first up. They're going to have a little bit of an experience advantage here in this bottom lane and may hit that level 2.
But they are at risk of being shoved in. And when you get shoved in very, very early, it means that you can't auto-attack because of how much creep damage does come out.
Yeah, and Imp utilizing that Ricochet auto-attack reset just to get a little bit more damage down to the Kayn as well. Wanting to take that Ricochet to push out this wave.
Yeah, definitely. Does it for a lot less mana early on as well.
Ooh,
So
Kayn has hit level 2 now, though, but he's just too low to capitalize on it.
Yeah, and once again, it's because of how big the creep wave is. If they fight them anywhere near that creep wave, PYL and Imp will just do so much more damage.
Ebb and Flow hitting 3 times for the heals and the damage just feels so good. Oh, Wayless actually taking a lot of damage in this mid lane, but Luo as well getting chunked down just a little bit. And this is what we were talking about, the fact that this mid lane is so volatile.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about both these champions is it starts at level 3. As soon as these champions have all the abilities available to them in their kit, a lot of damage can go out.
Wow, that was
Wayless
cool looking.
Hitting the chain there for a little bit extra damage as we see Captain 57 visiting this top lane after just clearing the top side of his jungle.
Yeah, he's going to back away, though. Not going to want to actually go in on Acorn up here, which is interesting because Acorn pushed up relatively far.
Yeah, that creep wave was absolutely huge. As I keep mentioning it, but creeps do so much damage, especially cannon creeps, that if they're actually not on the turret, then you take a lot of damage. And if they are on the turret, you, of course, want to pick up the CS and experience. So just not a good time to gank there.
Yeah, we'll see whether he is going to come back around and really put the pressure onto the new Korean import here. As Imp, nice spell shield just to soak up that phosphorus one. And an Ebb and Flow just going to give PYL a little bit of a turret shot.
Hit. And once again, Sivir just pushing so hard, not worried about this gank whatsoever because they have that ward in the river. Just happy to push up, get an early CS advantage, and put this Corki under pressure to farm underneath the turret.
Yeah, and TBQ looking to try and make something happen here early on onto Luo. Syndra is playing back relatively far and does have that flash available, of course. So probably not going to be too successful. If they get that summoner spell, that's going to be so important.
I think this must be a counter gank because they are so far up that it's going to be extremely difficult to execute that gank without, I guess, having to dive. And it does show with Rengar having to back off, go back to his jungle. That was a lot of time spent.
Yeah, and Luo actually had that ward in the bottom side, so it was, of course, just fainting over there because he knows that there's definitely no Rengar going to come out of that particular
cheating
spot
towards
on the map.
that side of the lane that was warded. So good play out of Luo in the mid lane. Acorn looks like he's farming up very nicely, has a much bigger minion wave and is only 1 CS down, now even.
Yeah, just going to use that Blade Surge. Of course, Aurelia so good at farming under these turrets with that reset. A little bit of extra damage. And has that Flask, so not going to have too many of these mana issues as well. Picked up a mana pot at the same time. So normally going for 3 of those health potions normally, but wants to have that extra mana.
The damage that was done to the bottom turret already is a very worrying sign for EP. That is, I think, below half health at the moment. And if that goes down any further, it will open up the whole map and just mean that LGD has the advantage of being able to roam around as a unit.
Yeah, and we've been seeing, actually, as Kayn gets very aggressive here in this bottom lane, has Ruby Crystal and a longsword to the pickaxe coming out of Imp right now.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about of, you saw the ping straight away, that PYL had left. He's gone to get some deep wards. That's his job as a support to make sure that his AD carries safe. But while he's gone, he needs to make sure that Imp does play that careful role, as we have Captain 57 looking for a gank on Acorn. Yeah,
Acorn actually wants to get a ward down here by the looks of things, but Captain 57 seems to be wasting a fair bit of time. They're waiting for a Blade Surge, I think, up here in the top lane. Captain 57 is going to give up. Transcendent Blade's now available for Acorn, and he's just going to use that to shove out this wave so he can head back, let it reset.
And this is why PYL's wards were so important. They knew Captain 57 was not in the bottom side of the jungle. They knew he wasn't in the river either because of their ward coverage, so he must have been top. There was nowhere else he could possibly be, which means that they just can play away from the river on the top side, be completely free from any gank.
Yeah, and it's really, really well coordinated as well with Acorn in the top lane, as we do have a gank in the bottom lane. Flag and Drag, Imp gets knocked up. There's the exhaust. Cataclysm for the insta-kill. And that is going to be a double kill, actually, because Wayless fell down in the mid lane as well. Luo managing to pick that one up, almost dying for it as well.
Yeah, had to use the ultimate there. Was burnt by both mid laners. And this is exactly what we were talking about in Champion Select. Teleport bottom lane, first blood, looking for a dragon straight away. Perfect play coming out of EP.
Yeah, and Energy Pacemaker, like we were talking about earlier on, like you mentioned, the fact that they're playing this map and playing their rotations really, really beautifully. Looks like this first dragon is going to be taken uncontested. They have that pink ward. No timer is going to be available for LGD, of course. They probably know that this is going on, but the exact time is really important.
Yeah, it certainly is. It means you can set up so much earlier. Now they have to get there when they think it's up. They will, of course, cheat a little bit early to try and get some vision control. But that first blood is so important on Amazing J. He's gone back and picked himself up a pickaxe and a longsword. Maybe going for that early Tiamat.
Yeah, looking to go with a Tiamat potentially. And I'm excited by that. Having a damaged Jarvan coming out of the top lane, you don't see it all that much. You know, Jarvans tend to just be this sort of CC bot flagging and dragging around, but this time he's going to be cataclysming for a lot of damage, and that's why it was so surprising when he came down to that bottom lane. That cataclysm was just so huge on the damage front.
Yeah, it definitely is a lot of upfront bursts, particularly if you land your Q first because of all the armor shred that comes through. So he's gone back to the top lane, equal in CS still, although the wave is much bigger for Acorn, as well as a kill under his belt, so he's sitting very nicely.
Yeah, but does have a lot of damage, so doesn't necessarily have the extra health, and of course the cloth armor available to Acorn, meaning that he's got a little bit more armor there as well, so still playing back from this wave.
Yeah, and interesting enough, TBQ swapped out his trinket for already a sweeper 8 minutes in. However, Captain 57 has kept his, even though he has the option to, I guess, invest a little more into that Sightstone, is looking to finish off his jungle item first up.
Yeah, PYL actually going for the bubble's going to land on the Kane here as well. They have a shield, but Imp taking a lot of damage from that Phosphorus Bomb. Boomerang Blade's going to come through. Kane goes very low, but I think he's going to be safe from this one. PYL, his bubbles look fantastic.
Yeah, able to get that going on Nami. Heals back up to full health. This is a lot of pressure now on the bottom lane with Imp just relentlessly being able to push in, not knowing where TBQ is, and he is, of course, level 6 for that gank. And wow, Wayless getting chunked out once again in this mid lane.
Luo actually using his full combo onto Wayless there. There's nothing
Looks
he can
like
really do.
they're going for a
He's going
gank.
to come back. There's Thrill of the Hunt being popped. The flash coming out as well. Luo's got no mana. TBQ is going to be free. There's actually Scatter the Weak, but with no ball. There is the Mimic as well, and TBQ picks up the kill in response. First kill for LGD here on the map.
Yeah, nice move from Captain 57, however, going over and counter-jungling away that buff. I think they suspect it's going on because of how Amazing J did move down there in case he did need support, but now he's looking to 1v1 out TBQ. Maybe not. Just going back.
Yeah, Bubble's not going to land here in the bottom lane. As Shu going to head back to that turret as well. Kane so low down here.
Yeah, and the turret is just in danger of being taken on this wave because of all the early pushing that Imp did. Not only did it pick him up a very decent CS advantage, already 20, and that's going to be another wave loss for Kane. It just did so much damage early on to that turret.
Not to mention that Kane could only buy a Sapphire Crystal when he backs, so that's no combat stats being picked up by this Corki. Going to have a little bit more mana for those Phosphorus Bombs, but really for these trades and engages, it's not going to offer him anything.
Yeah, and Kane, Imp just pushing down that turret as fast as possible as the stun does.
Wayless actually dodging out of the way of that Scatter the Weak with the Dark Spheres, and he's going to be safe here, but looking very dangerous with 3 members of Energy Pacemaker in the mid lane.
Yeah, so Energy Pacemaker now looking to play around their mid lane. Amazing J has fallen 20 CS behind after he picked up that kill, so he's in a little bit of danger in this top lane, it looks like, of just being run over by Acorn, who's controlling this wave beautifully, just ensuring it's pushing at every point.
Yeah, 87 CS now to 69 here in this top lane. I think Amazing J might be paying for his really aggressive item choices.
Yeah, I think it's more control over the minion wave. When you say Acorn play, he makes sure that he's not last hitting, so he's until the very last moment, so it's always pushing in his favor. Of course, Jarvan a lot more AoE when he does harass with that Q and that flag.
Yep.
So it means that the wave is always going to push in Aurelia's favor, and she can just freeze so easily.
And we can see that happening as well. That wave was nowhere near the turret, and Amazing J is going to have to clear that one out before his tower does, and he's going to back away as well. So top lane's going to reset, and our top lane is just heading back there as well. Acorn not going to have his teleport available for the next little while, as Thrill of the Hunt is going to be popped in full vision of Energy Pacemaker. TBQ, oh, actually going to flash. There's the Empowered Bowler. Captain 57's here, though. There's the turnaround, immediately evaporating TBQ, and that was so beautifully baited.
Yeah, and that Syndra ultimate absolutely destroying the jungle. When you see someone respond like that, as there's a little bit of a scuffle in the bottom lane, you cannot choose to continue to go in. They'd obviously seen because they backed off at the perfect moment.
Yeah, that was so beautifully orchestrated, and that Unleash Power just did so much damage as well.
But equalizing up the turrets now, looks like in the top lane, Amazing J has elected to go for those Ninja Tabi, so going to be mitigating a lot of Aurelia's auto attack damage, as well as finishing up that Tiamat, which means he will be able to shove out his wave so quickly to use this teleport around the map.
Yeah, it does have that Ninja Tabi available. You can see Akon, Transcendent Blades is being used, but Captain 57 here again. Actually, Akon unable to get over that wall, but didn't actually use the flash. Just looked like he got stuck there for a second. There's going to be the Dragon's Rage kick, and just sliced in the head.
Yeah, a little bit of a misplay out of Captain 57 there. He had his Safeguard available, as well as his Smite, so needed to use one of them before he threw out his first Resonating Strike, because that nearly cost him Amazing J's life in that situation and meant they had to use a lot more resources to take out the kill. But in the end, they do pick up Akon. Amazing J 2-0-0, so making up for the CS disadvantage with some kills for himself, so he's still rolling in this top lane, and that's who they need to get going if they're going to win.
Yeah, and Energy Pacemaker have started translating their kills across this map into objectives as well. You can see Amazing J has shoved out this top wave as well. Akon unable to teleport back there, so he's going to lose a lot of CS to that turret. And now 1 death to the 2 kills on the side of Amazing J, easily making up for that CS discrepancy.
Yeah, and Energy Pacemaker need to make their next move right now. They see that they will see that Akon is moving into that top lane, and they know Dragon is now alive. His teleport is down for about 5 to 10 more seconds, so they need to take it as soon as possible to make sure they have the advantage in this fight.
Yeah, pulling out this Dragon, it's so intelligent to start it off right away. Now already down to half health, and you can see that TBQ doesn't have flash, unable to get over that wall. He's in full vision. They're going to take the second Dragon so easily, and that's why it's so handy to deny the timer from your opponent.
As Captain 57 nearly walked directly into Wayless. Will try his luck again. Zoning him away from that ward, able to pick up the pink ward. Akon will get the top turret, it looks like, but that's 2 turrets, two Dragons very early in the game on the side of Energy Pacemaker.
It certainly is, and actually Kane was forced out of that bottom lane in order to help with that Dragon, so has fell behind 40 CS down there. So Imp doing a lot of work. Only about a minute behind the timer as well. So.
This is a very well-coordinated team in Energy Pacemaker, making sure their map movements are crisp, versus a team that is just solo beating lanes.
Yeah.
You can see how well Akon and Imp are doing in their lanes. I'm sure PYL has a lot to do with that. The control over the bottom half of the map looks quite good, although they've lost 2 Dragons for it. However, if the game keeps going this way, when you pick up objectives and turrets, you expect to get a gold advantage. If that doesn't happen, all of a sudden, LGD will just be able to pick up the first Dragon of the game and then run over the top of these team fights.
Yeah, and going to have exactly the same amount of worth of statistics while they do so as well. So see whether they can capitalize. Wayless is someone that we haven't really spoken about unless they're getting killed in that mid lane, but we can see still up about 15 CS.
Yeah, and as I said, this is a team with very, very strong individual carries in the mid and in the AD position. So that's why they've brought in Akon a little bit safer, although playing Aurelia will have a lot of damage this game. And wow, taking out Amazing J in the top lane, that was a very nice chunk of damage from Akon.
Yeah, using that Transcendent Blades, and I think that Amazing J just wanted to get as much damage on that turret as possible. Didn't realize that Akon still does a lot of damage, has that Trinity Force power spike there as well. And Captain 57 now waiting around, and we've got Shu up here as well on this Janitor to offer his assistance.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to push this one out. We're maybe expecting a gank up in the top lane. That's why they rotated so many members. Or could be just waiting for Kane to come up here, be able to take that turret with some long range and clear out the second last standing objective. Sorry, their bottom turret is still alive.
Yeah, it is, and we've got actually Wayless there in the bottom lane. A little bit more mobility, able to get away from that bottom lane and help out his team a little bit faster than both of those bottom lane members, and they have started putting a lot of pressure now on the side of LGD.
Yeah, but this is just going to be a trade, and I feel that in the mid lane they can take the turret just as quick, although it looks like Syndra now has made her way back there. So nice move in the end by Energy Pacemaker, taking up another turret for themselves and really denying the mid turret from Imp.
Yeah, Wayless is going to continue to do work down here in the bottom lane though, so Energy Pacemaker will need to stop this at some point. You can see they're all sort of rotating through. The mid lane turret, as you mentioned, very low on health now, but Energy Pacemaker forced to react.
And they've set up a trap here for Wayless. They're going in on him very, very quickly.
Does have that distortion available, and look at Amazing J actually halving Wayless's health already. going to be the slow from Janna, but of course that distortion just so powerful in
Yeah,
escaping.
Wayless on LeBlanc is so hard to chase down, and a lot of Jarvan's abilities can be left away from. So,
oh, actually trying to distort his way into getting that blue buff as well.
Very cute there from Lo, although picking it up and just denying it. That was a nice move there coming out of the mid laner from Energy Pacemaker.
Yeah, I'll just hold on to this one for a moment.
Looks like they're still able to defend this mid turret as well. So, slow play coming out of LGD, not willing to really force anything. They understand that they're slowly building an advantage on their AD carry, so they don't really need to accelerate the pace of the game. And you feel that late game, they just have such a good team composition.
Yeah, him trying to get this tower down. He's actually going to use that spell shield in order to stop that sonic wave from connecting. Although I guess it technically did connect, but you can't do anything about it because it's going to get shielded, which isn't bad at all. And we can see as well, the gold entirely even, but we have to factor in the dragon.
Yeah, 2 dragons over the side of Energy Pacemaker. Of course, they were able to pick those ones up as Wayless looks to get maybe aggressive. No, just looking to farm out the wave. A lot of pressure being put on this mid lane. It looks like Amazing J's been caught out.
Yeah, there's the bubble coming through as well, getting jumped on here by TBQ, and
they need to be so careful.
The tidal wave coming through for the extra slow there as well. It's a monsoon and a flash, and Kane get immediately exhausted. PYL's going to get evaporated though because Luo's found his way around the side. Boulder Strike's not going to land, but a nice trade 1-for-1 now on the side of EP and LGD.
Yeah, but it's not done yet. They're able to take down the middle turret. Dragon is only a minute away, so look for them to rotate around, I guess, and try and set up some wards there. But no, they've set LeBlanc Wayless back into the bottom lane.
Scatter Week not going to find its mark. Akon wants to try and get some work done on this turret, but Imp finally going to be able to get this one. Doesn't have very much mana left, so they're not going to look to fight at all. And Wayless just wailing on this turret in the bottom lane.
Yeah, so that was very smart play coming out of LGD. Recognizing they could take the mid turret without their mid laner, just saying don't fight and send him down there to do even more damage, I suppose.
Yeah, and actually, Luo, this could be his chance. Wayless as well. Oh, the chain not going to land. That would have definitely netted in the kill.
Didn't use the Ignite either, which would have been very, very close to kill range. However, what it has done is 38 seconds from a dragon, completely chunked out quite possibly the strongest member on their team.
Yeah, it was beautifully well done. Waiting for that Scatter the Week to come out, and that's all of the CC available to Syndra in that trade. Wayless almost managed to pick up the kill. TBQ now going to clear out these Raptors and just prepare for this dragon. They don't know the timer though, so still, I mean, they're not necessarily setting up at exactly the right times. 10 seconds now, and their Spidey senses are tingling. We'll see whether they do manage to at least get a ward in there.
As soon as you see a team take Scuttle Trap in full vision of a ward, you must think the dragon is coming up soon, and it is up right now.
TBQ actually forced to flash. There's the Cataclysm onto 3 members. A teleport immediately coming in. Amazing J just gets taken out straight off the bat. Making this into a 5v4. Akon gets stunned up, but not for long. Of course, that Ionian Fervor being fantastic in this situation in order to stop all of this CC from coming through onto Akon. And Aurelia, this is where you shine in these sort of skirmishes for the Dragon, because no one's going to be able to stop you.
Yeah, and wow, what a really nice pickup there. Amazing J went super hard as we have TBQ ulting in with a Sivir.
Yeah, there's actually the flash into the Blaze Surge as well. Akon's so aggressive. It's a nice knock-up, but TBQ is going to immediately take out Luo. And here's Shu getting just chunked. Imp going to get exhausted, and that's probably why Shu's still alive. But the Dragon now going over to LGD, and what beautiful play, making sure that they just all collapse onto Amazing J and secure themselves the most important Dragon in these early stages of the game.
Yeah, certainly was, and I spoke a little bit about how their coordination will be very telling. That was beautifully done. The ultimate coming out as the flash came over the wall. We spoke about how AD and top doesn't really have much to do with each other. Was right there with the Rengar ulting as well. But for me, PYL's ultimate, that tidal wave that came across was absolutely perfect. Split one member to the right, hit the other 3. Probably the perfect Nami ultimate in that situation.
Yeah, it was wonderful to see. We'll see whether Energy Pacemaker can come back through. Of course, we did mention the fact that they want to be picking the fights that are already in their favor, and these 5v5s probably not going to be working out due to the individual and mechanical skill of these LGD members.
Yeah, I don't think they want to fight 5v5. I think they want to try and drag Acorn around the map and then get Amazing J to teleport a little bit earlier and start the fight off in their favor. We've seen it a couple of times already with Amazing J nailing a couple of his early teleports, but that one was a little bit too early, going in extremely aggressive.
Yeah, he did manage to trap 3 members with that Cataclysm, but it just wasn't able to be followed up on in time for these guys. If you had got a Phosphorus Bomb onto those 3 members, that would have been beautiful. But I mean, it's just a little bit too far out.
Yeah, and we talk about Jarvan a lot. He's very, very good at going forward, and he goes forward a long way. Sometimes as a Jarvan player, you don't recognize how far ahead of your team you actually are. Yeah. And in that situation, way too far ahead, they were able to get out of the Cataclysm in Imp's scenario and then turn around and just focus him down. And without any tank items at this point in the game, only the Ninja Turbo was able to be blown up and turn the fight against his team. So it's one of those things, you need to be able to communicate exactly what summoner spells up and whether your team can follow up on your engage. Otherwise, you're kind of just left in the middle of 3 people with no abilities left.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. Unless he's going to flash out of his own Cataclysm and leave them stranded there. As we saw Beast doing in the last matchup, which was very, very cute under their own tower. Just saying, I don't really want to be there anymore. I'm just going to leave. So not quite able to make the same play, unfortunately, was Amazing J, but I do like his Jarvan so far, and Amazing J has been stepping up, especially with that first teleport call. That was beautifully done.
Yeah, and he was able to pick up First Blood and a Dragon for his team. You must give credit to Energy Pacemaker. They are 2-1 in Dragons, have been able to pick up a couple of objectives. To stay even in gold when they're getting crushed, honestly, in CS, is a big thing to be able to do, but you just have to feel that as soon as they let a little bit of control go over the game, which they just did in that team fight, then this game will deteriorate very rapidly because of how their champions look.
Yeah, and Lua on the Syndra as well. Is this going to be the saving grace on the side of Energy Pacemaker? Because we've been seeing early on, Lua's been fantastic in keeping Wayless down, but is it going to be on him to stop Wayless, or is that now going to fall into a different character's hands?
I think unless Wayless feels the need to initiate himself and distort in, then there's not much Syndra can honestly do in this team fight. We'll probably end up ulting Aurelia much more than she would like. Unless she can pick off the Rengar and get a nice, I guess, if they control vision and they use Syndra as a pick champion, they're in a very good position. But if it comes down to the 5v5 team fights that we just see so much in the LPL, then the game is definitely in LGD's favor.
Yeah, and LGD looking like they're orchestrating what they want very, very well as we are back into this game. Acorn back in the top lane, and Energy Pacemaker just going to head back and do some shopping. Kane out of mana, and that is not a good thing for a Corki. He likes his spells a fair bit.
Yeah, he has been able to, I guess, equalize the CS disadvantage he's picked up. It was 40 CS quite early, and it hasn't really grown from there. He has picked up those Sorcerer Boots as well as the Trinity Force now, so on that really nice 2-item power spike. However, Imp in the mid lane must be very close to his static shift.
He certainly must. Of course, hasn't been back since that last skirmish, I don't believe. It's PYL just hanging about here. They haven't spotted that ward there in the Banana Brush. And these wards that Energy Pacemaker have been putting down in the mid lane have definitely netted them a lot of information.
Yeah, and you can see that LGD has been content to play passive the game because of where their pink wards are positioned on the bottom side of the map, in the entrances of their jungle. They're not pushing them up any further, just trying to keep advantage of exactly where they can control their, I guess, their part of the jungle. And it's really been paying off for them because, as I said, they've just been solidly winning lanes.
Yeah, and I think that that's a testament to how well Energy Pacemaker played the early stages of this game. I mean, they put LGD on the back foot, but it looks to me like a change
setting up a gank. No, just letting him wander past there.
Yeah, Acorn's going to see Amazing J up here as well. Wayless might decide to head to this top lane. You can see there's the Equilibrium Stripe coming in as well. Transcendent Blade's coming down. Amazing J, you are in a lot of trouble, buddy. But flag and drag into the flash, and he is safe. You were talking about the fact that Jarvan can cover a lot of distance. We just saw exactly that.
Yeah, and he has managed to pick up a couple more tanky items now, so he is able to survive a little bit of punishment, although Wayless went so deep for that.
Oh my goodness, the shield from Shu was beautiful there. As Luo's coming in here as well. The chain's going to land from Wayless, going to stop Luo from coming in, and Acorn's going to take a Sonic Wave, but Captain 57 does not want to engage onto it.
That was 2 versus 5, and they gave up complete control of their mid lane. That's disaster for EP not being able to pick up anything because, the teleport's coming in from Amazing J. This could really turn it. No, the split.
Yeah, Imp actually walking over a ward here, though, and if he goes down, Amazing J might be able to catch onto him. Going to use that on the hunt, but there's a Cataclysm. That's going to stop him from being able to do anything. No flashes available, and he's going to have to wait for that Cataclysm to run. Look at the tidal wave. That was beautiful. And the exhaust from PYL was wonderful, saving Imp's life. And the kick. There's the Sonic Wave as well. And PYL staying away from his AD carry. There's the Ebb and Flow coming in as well. Safeguard over the wall as Acorn does come in to lend his hand as well. And my gosh, that was a beautiful passage of play by the support player of LGD.
LGD plays so confidently, and PYL nailed that team fight once again as Wayless is looking for the stragglers, I guess. But yeah, the confidence. Imp knew that he could sit there, get some auto attacks off, knew his support and his jungler were going to arrive in time. The exhaust was so clutch out onto Kane there. Definitely saved Imp's life. And to expend that much to get a good initiate with a teleport, but not be able to pick up anything, just shows how in control LGD are of their own playstyle at this point.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that I just can't fathom PYL's ability to play this game. The way that he was reacting to everything that was going on in that team fight was just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, and the static shift now has been picked up by him, so he has that nice 2-item spike with a little bit more crit and the upfront magic damage that can come out. Of course, Sivir doing some nice burst damage with that boomerang blade.
Kane looking for that almost Chinese exclusive second item Blade of the Ruined King on Corki that we don't see as much in other regions. Of course, there are people that do pick that one up, but definitely a staple here in this region.
Yeah, it comes down to the dual potential and being able to auto-attack with. They do like to try and get maximum damage through that, not putting as much value, I guess, on that big upfront IE crit with a Sheen proc that can come through, but definitely does work out when they do go into these duels, and the lifesteal in extended fights can't be undervalued.
Yeah, Acorn has pushed out this top wave as well. And another thing I'd like to mention is a Sunfire Cape pickup here by Amazing J. Does have that Kindle Gem as well for a little bit of cooldown reduction. But Sunfire Cape, I mean, it's an interesting item that we don't see as much from tanks wanting to build a tank item. Why do you think he would have built this item in this case?
I think it's... First of all, Sunfire Cape generally is just an outright bad item. He already has pushing ability, so he doesn't need it for that. The magic damage that comes out later on when people start picking up magic resist, which already has started on 3 members on LGD's side, just mitigates that part. It's because he wants to have as much mid-game power as he possibly can. That item in 5-6 minutes will be completely useless. He needs to win a team fight with it right now.
We'll see whether he can win that team fight. As Thrill the Hunt has been popped by TBQ. Doesn't really quite know where he wants to go with it. And actually, Kane might be in trouble here. Immediately, TBQ does get exhausted. The tidal wave from over the wall there as well. There's going to be the bubble coming over. Amazing J gets caught in that one, but look at all that damage. Imp is just free hitting on everyone. Going to flash out of the Cataclysm almost before it lands. A triple kill already before he falls down. Captain 57's going to fall as well, but not after taking down TBQ. And that is going to be an ace for LGD. Beautifully executed team fight.
Yeah, Wayless and PYL definitely getting that fight going over the wall after the strong initiating coming out of the Rengar. But wow, in a choke, double distortion does so much damage.
It's ridiculous. That Mimic Distortion just ripped that team apart, and they were stunned up. I mean, it was a beautiful Zhonya's Hourglass from Luo in order to stop a lot of that CC, but it just was not enough. And to have him free hitting with the Ricochet over the whole team during that entire fight, I think he got trapped in the Cataclysm there a little bit as well, sort of in the wall of the Cataclysm with the flash, but beautifully well done by LGD, and this is a team to watch.
Yeah, and Imp is going to enjoy playing on this team so much because there are so many threats. There are no way people can just sit there and focus him down with Wayless playing this way on an Assassin. He is a very big threat at this point in the game. Picked up his Rabadon, is 117, so not necessarily getting the kills for his team, but is just outputting so much burst damage.
Oh, and Alacrity enchant being picked up here from Imp as well. So wants to have as much movement speed as possible. And actually the synergy with that one, as we've got Alacrity across the board on these guys. Yes. In fact, Acorn picking it up as well.
Yeah, so Acorn's picked that up as well, hoping to stick as much as possible to possibly Kane on that Corki or whoever he can just get onto at the start of that. Of course, Aurelia counts on that attack speed and the movement speed to be able to output so much of her damage through that W, that He-10 style. As we see Amazing J back to split pushing, his teleport will be up quite soon. So he's trying to get the last outer turret on the map for his team.
And I think as well that On the Hunt gives you percentage movement speed when Alacrity Enchant gives you flat, so you get a little bit more from it when that ultimate is available as well. So there's a little bit of extra synergy.
I'm
not entirely sure.
As we come through that part of the game. As we have another ultimate being burnt, but no one in the vicinity, so this one may be wasted.
Yeah, it just wants the thrill of the hunt, I believe, at this stage.
Oh, God, that one was just bad.
Yeah, that was terrible. But they got On the Hunt and Thrill of the Hunt in the same game. I mean, man, it's just ridiculous. Okay, 5 members strong of EP, actually 4 members, as we do have Jarvan backing here in the bottom lane, but he does have that teleport. It could be 5 members here in the mid lane, but Energy Pacemaker sort of just milling about, not knowing quite what to do next at this stage of the game.
Yeah, I think they recognize that they can't force a fight. They're able to pick up a turret down in the bottom lane for free. However, if they were to fight right now, it would be definitely in the advantage of LGD, as we have Wayless putting on a tutorial of how LeBlanc's W works.
Yeah, it is. I've definitely learnt a lot that you can do it 3 times in a very short space of time if you've got that much cooldown reduction. Of course, Morello Nomicon offering him a lot, and of course the blue buff is going to give him 40%.
And has chosen to pick up a Haunting Guise due to the lack of, I guess, wow, as he goes in on Amazing J.
Oh, lands the chain as well before he manages to flag and drag out. He's going to pop his Locket of the Iron Solari there as well as the Cataclysm gets dodged out of the way. Here's the 1v1 that we're looking for. Does get the stun up, but going to flash out of the way as well. Wants to come in. That Howling Gale was amazing. The flash for the auto attack, and Amazing J picks up the kill, and that, wow, the support play from both these teams is
The
beautiful.
complete disrespect from Wayless there. That was a 2v1. He could have just got out of there as easy as he would like, but it does lead to a turret in the bottom lane, so not all bad for LGD.
Oh, PYL in a bit of trouble, and Imps here as well. PYL was there, I think, at some point. Thriller Hunt's been popped, but Luo's not going to worry about that one too much. And
Teleport coming through.
Not getting the stun on the Scat of the Week. Teleport's going to come from Amazing J. And they're just going to head towards this inner turret.
Yeah, so little bit of a, I guess, misplay there from the LGD lineup. They are going to start up Baron on the side of EP as well with absolutely no vision, although they call it off straight away. Look how much damage that guy does.
Oh, Akon has come through from around the side here. The Valkyrie's going to come through. Oh, Akon trying to get his way out. Look at how tanky he is in 5 members, and he's still not dead. So I don't know how he lasted that long. That was ridiculous. But a bit ridiculous that it was in the middle of 5 members of the team on his own in the first place. So not exactly the most intelligent play by the LGD top laner, but Akon just flexing his muscles a little bit.
Yeah, so that is EP picking up another kill. They are 5,000 gold behind, but they're still able to get the picks when they would like them. Dragon is 2 minutes away. Both teams will make that next priority because it just means so much at this point in the game, 31 minutes in.
Yeah, of course, both teams now on 2 dragons apiece. Looking to try and get to that ultimate 5 dragon mark, where you get what I would liken to the old Baron buff. It's giving you a lot of extra stats, doubling everything else that dragons do.
Yeah, and Scuttlecrab being picked up around this Baron area, it's so Scuttlecrab's vision is so key because it can't be removed. So as soon as you get it, you know that you have that period of time where no one else can remove your vision of that area. Pink ward will be cleared out, and once again, 5 members strong from EP in the mid lane. Acorn's still coming back, so they're looking to catch someone out right now.
Ooh, Captain 57 looking for the Sonic Wave, doesn't quite manage to make it land. Thrill the Hunt's been popped yet again. Acorn in amongst 3 members once more. Tidal Wave over 4 members as well. Amazing J getting taken down so low. He's going to fall. It picks up that kill. That's another pick. That's double kill now for him. The kick was beautiful from Captain J. He's going to try and flash out, but the last tick of the chain is going to land on him. TBQ now has found Luo, and he's just going to get left on here as well. Another ace for LGD, and a perfectly orchestrated fight.
The Tidal Wave and Lee Sin kicks in that fight were both perfect for their team. Started off the fight once again with Acorn just running in, understanding how much damage he can take. Great Tidal Wave to follow it up, but then Captain 57 getting a kick to potentially save the team fight was so close on a knife edge at the end, but in the end, LGD will be able to pick up this Baron and just catapult themselves up into a very big lead, 8,000 gold.
Yeah, and now with the Baron buff as well, so much more siege potential coming out of these guys. And if they ever get a pick onto someone, you could just imagine that Energy Pacemaker is just going to lose their whole base.
Yeah, definitely are, especially with how much damage is coming out of Imp at this point. He has picked himself up another BF sword, so he's got that, I guess, trifecta with the Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, as well as a Static Shift. Now going for a Bloodthirst, I would suspect. And PYL's build is just so team-oriented. He's now going for that Locket of the Iron Solari. Has already got the Mikhail's Crucible. Yeah, as Acorn just gives 0 cares.
Yeah, he doesn't really mind about anything. He realized before that he barely gets touched, as a Thriller Hunt has been popped yet again, and that's going to be the Tidecaller's Blessing, just giving that extra speed up. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful Scat of the Week, but Luo's still going to get Blade Surge. There's going to be the exhaust on a TBQ, probably not the optimal exhaust target, and here's on the hunt. They're saying go at this stage. Amazing J trying to tank up. Imp is going to take away Luo. straight away. I didn't even notice. Akon now taking up multiple turrets under here. And this is the stage when you know that Aurelia is way too big, when he just walks wherever the heck he wants.
Yeah, and that will be another Dragon on the side of LGD.
Oh, Wayless actually going very aggressive here. Doesn't manage to land the chain, which would have netted in the kill. But that is really going to chunk out Captain 57. And with only 2 members available, that inner turret is definitely going down. This Baron buff being put to great effect already.
Yeah, so recognizing how long the death timers are at 35 minutes into the game, Amazing J still has 20 seconds, so they may even be able to pick up an inhibitor for themselves as well as a Dragon, although they've already sent 2 members there. So it will just be the turret. But I have a feeling that they will be visiting that part of the map very soon.
Yes, you could definitely imagine that. Wayless to help out TBQ securing their 3rd Dragon of the game. And it's looking to me like this 11,000 gold lead is going to be very hard to surmount for Energy Pacemaker.
Yeah, and LGD are just relying on Acorn and Wayless to jumping in people's faces, and Energy Pacemaker realizing that they have to hit them to be able to get them off. That Aurelia is so sticky. With that Randuin's Omen as well as the Alacrity enchant coming through, just going to be able to do so much work on the back line that if they don't turn around and deal with her, with the On the Hunt coming through, just so much engaged potential.
Yeah, is Akon looking to build potentially a Warmog's armor now? Because that would be very scary. That's a lot of health for an Aurelia.
Yeah, it definitely is, and a lot of health regen that comes through from that item.
Already at about 4,000. So
looking to now push down mid lane. Jungler is still at his wolf camp, so we'll have to go slow in case they do get engaged on, but they will join up, and this may be the first inhibitor of the game.
Yeah, Baron probably doesn't have
this
too much longer
This
to
won't
go.
maybe be the first inhibitor of the game. This will be the first inhibitor of the game. They will push through here, no problem at all.
They didn't happen to sneak one that we missed earlier on. Pink Ward's going to be put down. That may just slow LGD down, though, at this stage, as another ward gets placed just to tempt them a little bit. Thriller Hunt is popped, though. Safeguard is going to be onto Amazing J. The inhibitor is the focus as Akon goes aggressive. Wayless, oh my goodness, that Mimic Distortion damage was absolutely ridiculous. Another fantastic tidal wave. Look at the Blade Surges. Oh, that's a little bit of an unfortunate use of the Monsoon. Going to get the AD carry killed. And LGD, it doesn't matter. They are going to take down these Nexus turrets. And what a beautiful passage of play for those last few minutes.
Yeah, it definitely was. They understood exactly where they were in the game. Even though they gave up a couple of early kills and objectives, which is confident in their ability to outlane their opponent and pick up a very decisive win in the end. GG, LDG taking away the first one.
Yeah, LGD just looking fantastic. Energy Pacemaker, I mean, they put up a great show early on. They knew exactly where they needed to put the pressure, especially from the jungle. Captain 57 did a lot of work in that mid lane, keeping Wayless down for as long as possible, but it just wasn't enough, just based on the fact that the solo laners, and especially the carries, Imp included, from LGD are just so strong.
Yeah, and they just built an insurmountable CS advantage. Even though they Imp gave up first blood, yeah, a couple of things went a little bit shaky in the early game. If you're up by 50 CS, and able to equalize a map like that, and the pressure they were putting on turrets, even early, just meant that unless EP were really able to run away with that game, LGD were just going to be able to, in the end, like a bulldozer, just slowly move their way over the top.
Yeah, and it was just beautiful to see, especially, I mean, we were talking about the fact that TBQ, not sort of known for his Rengar, and he had some Thrill of the Hunts that weren't as useful, but his ability to engage the fights that PYL was orchestrating so beautifully was fantastic, and it really got them into the engagements that they wanted a lot of these times.
Yeah, and really big props to him as well. I'd heard that his Lee Sin was out of this world. I was looking forward to seeing it. I'd heard that he had started to pick up Rengar, and it was having mixed success. So to bring it out in a game and have a very, very strong showing, that's fantastic on his behalf to show that his champion pool is starting to deepen, and that really is the question of this lineup. If that champion pool from their jungler can get nice and big, include some champions like Jarvan, like the Rengar, maybe bring a Lee Sin as well, then that's going to just give them so much more ability to run different compositions.
Yeah, and I really liked Wayless's map movement as well. I think we need to touch on that because his ability to split push and create pressure on the map was beautiful to behold. Yeah,
definitely. And it was like he was kind of on a leash. He was controlling his aggression. Then the last two team fights happened, and he was like, I'm just going. Yeah, he was going so deep. You remember the second last one was underneath. I think he jumped like 2 walls to get underneath an inhibitor turret. And just narrowly missed the kill, and then in the last fight, hit 3 people with that Mimic Distortion and just blew everyone up.
Yeah, and they were just being terrified because you're immediately flashing red and you have no idea where that damage came from because it's almost instantaneous. It was beautiful to see coming out of the mid lane of their Wayless. I think that LeBlanc may be off the table for the next matchup.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if they took it away. It's just such a potent assassin at the moment.
Yeah.
AoE assassins are just so devastating to the game. Like, we saw that in when Talon was going through his rise to power, just because if you can get 2 or 3 members down below 20% health, your team can run over the top of the team fight because it's so much harder to put out your input if you're just trying to survive.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But we are going to have game 2